What's going on, everyone? It is Dynasty Depot. We have our cameras off this one, but Ryan is flexing on you. And I am your host, Andrew, and my co-host, Ryan, and my rookie expert, which we will dive right into the rookie segment here in 1 second. But please crack open a cold one, chill out on the couch. If I'm in your car, drive safely, and I know that you will just be waiting to pick up your phone once you get to your destination and start putting in these waiver wires, these trades, and negotiations. Before we start it off, I want to hand it off to Ryan on a question. And I told him I had a surprise for him coming into this podcast. And I think it's exciting. I think it's really exciting. I think that this is our last podcast, if Ryan's good with it, with cameras off. I think going forward, I would like to have our cameras on. What do you think about that, Ryan?
Yeah, man. I think that'd be fun. I think it would create a new dynamic for our listeners, transitioning them into viewers. And I think it'd be a cool experience. So yeah.
Hell yeah. No, we'll do it, and I think I'm going to be getting back on the grind of getting our shorts out as well, so we'll have some hot takes out there. And I think all will be fun and dandy in the world, you know? I apologize ahead of time. I have been having a bad habit of saying A after a lot of things. I've been watching a lot of hockey lately. I got to stop watching, have to have a break of football, so if you hear a couple of A's, just ignore it from now on. But let's jump right into it. Enough rambling on. Let's go right into... Sorry, I said rookie segment. We have surprises of the week first. I have two. One is a Packer. Eric Wilson. I guess I'll start it off. Eric Wilson. I think I mentioned him before, but Eric Wilson was stepping in for a Quay Walker who had a very scary head injury. He pulled a full Tua Tagovailoa, I can't pronounce his name, Tua, on the field and went into fetal position after a hit. And he was carted off. I have no idea how long he's out. But Eric Wilson stepped in a big way. I think he had 2 sacks and led the team in tackles after Quay. He didn't lead the team overall. But that's who my surprise will be. Big step in for the Packers. Big game for the Packers. We gave the Texans had the ball twice on the 11-yard line to start their drive. They only had to go 11 yards and they walked away with 10 points and we won the game by 2. So big shout out our defense there and Eric Wilson. Also, same game, I'm going to go with this. This is a little bit of hate. Callan Bullock, whatever his name is, safety. He actually played a great game, but he did nothing but clown himself after the game. He was the safety that the hands went through, the ball went through his hands on the Tucker Kraft touchdown. The piss-hot touchdown. I'll start talking about the Packers' social media team.
Can you break that meme down for me? Because I saw it too. I just didn't understand it.
It's Matt LaFleur, MLF, coming in and saying that all the players got to come in with their piss hot, and it's a mentality thing. So the mentality was the piss missile going to the hot Tucker Kraft and through the hands of the cold Bullock. Bullock actually played a great game, but my favorite part was him going on Twitter afterwards and saying it wasn't a great pass because it went right through his hands. And then everyone's clowning on him, then why didn't he catch it? It was piss hot, that's all I gotta say. You can't catch the piss hot pass. That's it. Tucker Kraft's a dog, Jordan Love's a dog, so those are my surprises of the week. Was Eric Wilson and then Bullock actually going on line and trying to defend that, and it just backfired in his face. So those are my surprises of the week. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, man, you can't catch a ball if you got cold piss hands. On the opposite side of the field for that game,
it's a mentality thing. All right.
I have a 31-year-old linebacker in Neville Hewitt for the Houston Texans. He had 6 solos. He had 3 assists and an interception. I think he had a solid game. Played the position really well. Long term, is this a guy that you see viable? 31's getting up there for a linebacker. Body's definitely taking some hits. I think he's 10 years deep into the league right now. Depending on how big your league is, maybe an option. I would take that one with a grain of salt, but definitely stuck out to me this weekend.
All right, that was a big game. I mean, it was one of the games of the week. I don't know why it wasn't flexed. We had some awful primetime games this week. At the 1 o'clock slot, we had two great games: the Packers Texans, and then we had the Vikings Lions. So, why were they at 1 o'clock? It's a good question. But moving on from that, because I can go off and that forever and ever. We have Ryan. Cameras aren't on. Stop flexing. It's okay. It's
Dude,
okay.
that was a karate kick. I'm fired up.
We have Ryan with our rookie segment of the week. So Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, guys, and I wish the cameras were on for this one because you would have saw that amazing swan kick, and it would have reminded you.
Next week.
Yes, next week. But some guys are just built different, maybe more athletic than me. I'm gonna segue into that with Troy Franklin. Really, I could go on both sides of that connection right there, Troy Franklin and Bo Nix. A little backstory: he played at Oregon with Bo Nix, and he was targeted for 14 of 45 touchdowns of last year from Bo Nix at Oregon. The Broncos picked him up. I believe it was third round, fourth. No, it was a day 3, I think. Anyway, picked him up, and we knew that there was going to be some connection there. We just didn't know when we'd see it or if we'd see it. And last week, he had 5 targets, I believe. 6 targets, 5 receptions. Definitely looking like a boost in his production. I think that's a direct reflection of Bo Nix getting more comfortable just in his role and in his job and being an NFL quarterback. You know, it's hard to come in there, especially getting out of college and then playing at a whole different speed. We definitely saw Bo Nix struggle through the first 4 weeks. I believe he was 0 touchdowns for 4 interceptions. On the backside of the half, the last 3 weeks, he's thrown for 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. So expect as his comfortability, confidence grows in that offense, Troy Franklin's going to be a viable option at receiver down the road in that Broncos offense.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off. Going with that same core group of guys, someone that I am high on, also a rookie, Devon Bailey. What's your opinion on him? Do you think Troy Franklin's the future? Do you think Bailey's the future?
So, if I'll be honest with you, my back on Bailey isn't, or my background knowledge on Bailey isn't that firm, so I don't want to come on here and spit some lies for everyone. But definitely looking at the connection that Bo Nix already has with Troy Franklin, I mean, you got to look at it. Bo Nix transferred from Auburn to Oregon looking for a fresh start. And he found that and turned it into a Heisman campaign. Did he win? No. But did he light the field up? Was he in that top 4 conversation at the end of the year? 100% he was. And for the Broncos to get Troy Franklin, I think that just speaks to what they want to see in their offense moving forward. You know, they get their guy at quarterback. You know, if I feel like everyone knew that Bo Nix would be something. What it'd be, you know, we don't know. I could see him being a future kind of Drew Brees-esque, maybe not to that stature, but definitely a similar career. And I think
he can be better than Drew Brees. Drew Brees is overrated.
Hot take.
We're not at that part of the podcast yet, but
hot take.
I think Bo Nix can be better. I'm not gonna lie.
But no, I think that just speaks to where the Broncos really want to see that organization going, and especially a wide receiver target for Bo Nix that he's already comfortable with. They want to see both of them get fed, and I think I'd go with Troy Franklin based off that.
Nice. There you go. What else is on the agenda for the rookie segment?
You know, it's 100 shots. Shout out Ricky. That was a Young Dolph reference, and you just.
No, I got it. All right. Don't worry.
Ricky Pearsall. Now, you know, based off his performance last week, wasn't flashy, but we're gonna have to look at everything that we just saw. C-Mac, he's done for the year. And we've known that. Debo Samuel, he was out with an illness last week. How long do we know that that's going to persist? Who knows? And then you have Brendan Ayuk out for the year, right? Where else are they going to go on that offense? They do have other options, but they had a first-round receiver in last year's draft that they picked up. Ricky Pearsall's a baller. Well, we saw that in college. First game in the NFL, recovering from was he shot? Yeah, he was shot. For some reason, I thought he was stabbed. Covering
Over
from
his Rolex.
over his Rolex. It's crazy. And he was fighting the guy over the gun, too. Like, baller move. But no, it's I think that's we're seeing a guy in week 7 having a week 1 game, getting used to the playing of and the speed of just the NFL. I think considering the options that they do have out, Ricky Pearsall is going to pick up a much bigger role in this offense and going down the season.
I agree. I like all the memes. I'm going to say this as lighthearted because it is a bad situation for the 49ers, but I just find it funny how the 49ers' healthiest receiver is recovering from a gunshot wound a month ago. So it is it's hard over there right now. So that's just kind of how it is. So I think Ricky. I was high on Ricky going into the season, and even with the gunshot, I think he's going to recover fine. He's a strong man. So I like those picks.
Good deal.
With that, I guess, was that it for the rookie segment?
I got a defensive guy if you want to hear him.
Hell yeah, I want to hear him.
Sweet, man.
Because we care about defense here on Dynasty Depot.
Ding. All right, guys. Coming in on defense, I have Jared Verse. Everyone kind of knew he was going to be a stud coming out of Florida State. They were kind of expecting a similar Florida State defensive line this year, but that did not happen. Go Gators. Jared Verse, this season, he's had 16 solos, 10 assists, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. He's a force to be reckoned with. He's a stud defensive lineman, and that combination that they have out there in LA with Verse and Fisk is going to be fun to watch over the next couple of years because they both attract blocking. It's not like you can't worry about one. One or both one's going to face a double team almost every game. It just depends on which one and who they're going to switch around the blocks to. But I definitely like Jared Verse moving forward. And really at the beginning of the season, he was definitely a guy to look out for. I believe Andrew may have talked about that in one of our earlier episodes. Shout out Voj for the knowledge. But no, definitely keep an eye out for Jared Verse if you don't already have him.
I think going with that, next we're going to do our defensive segment. Let me do the introduction for that. Here in Dynasty Depot, we care about defense as we are a defensive and offensive fantasy football. The best way to play fantasy football, the most real way to play fantasy football. If you're not in a defensive league, you are not playing fantasy football. I'll say it straight up. Join a defensive fantasy football today. That being said, I want to talk about another rookie on this LA Rams team. This is someone that I had to dig for. This is someone I did not know coming into the draft. This is someone who's showing up to be a ball hawk. He has a knack for the football. He didn't do much in his first few games. He scored 0 points week 1, 1 point week 2, which is a tackle and a half week 3, no points in week 4. He played the Packers, and he was the person who had the pick 6 on Jordan Love. He defended 1 pass. He had a bye week, came out, and he had 2 interceptions this week, 2 pass defenses, and a solo tackle. So this dude has had the ball in his hands 3 times in the last 2 games as a rookie going into week 8. And that is Jalen McCollough. No idea about his college background, but this dude is playing like a dog. The Rams defense always does great. And when which is rare for me to say this, I like fantasy football. My DBs are either tackle heavy or ball hawks, and usually not on the outside. But this dude has a knack for the ball, and that gets you points in fantasy football. So I like this guy a lot, and I'm very excited to see what he can do in the future. Right now, this is a name he is rostered on 2% of leagues, and he's had 3 picks in the last 2 games. So go pick him up and at least stash him. It's too late to put him in a taxi, but at least stash him if you have the room. And I think he's a viable option right now. He's playing Minnesota. There's going to be a ton of passing in that. Then he plays Seattle, another team that's going to pass a lot. Week 10, Tua's back. Miami's going to pass a lot. New England is an oddball. Drake May's looking good. They might pass a lot if they get the chance to pass a lot. Um, Eagles will be tough. Saints are going to pass a lot. Bills are going to pass a lot. San Francisco is going to pass a lot. Jets, who knows? Rodgers might have 25 picks by then. He can throw up a couple more to them, and then Kyle Murray to end your Super Bowl. I think Jalen McCall has a great outlook on the season, and he's going to get more than 3 interceptions on this year. I think that's a great pickup for anyone right now. Second, and I like this dude. This dude's young. This dude is 23. He is a linebacker for Minnesota, which historically has great linebacking cores. And this week he had a touchdown, a fumble recovery, which turned into the touchdown, 1 sack, 1 hit on a QB, which means that he can blitz. Detroit has a great line, and that's Ivan Pace. I love him. The game before that, he's coming back from an injury, 2 hits on a QB and a sack. And he tackles. He had 4 solo tackles. And I think this dude's going to be a dog. He's rostered in 73% of leagues on Sleeper, raising by 4%. Over half of the owners start him. And I think if you are not on this train, I think that this is a very solid linebacker to bolster that middle of your defense. And, coming off an injury, no one had him at the beginning of the year, and he came out swinging. He has the Rams, which is a high-point potential game. He has Anthony Richardson and the Colts, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Chicago, the Cardinals, Atlanta, Chicago, Seattle, and Green Bay for the Super Bowl. Those are all games that linebackers could thrive in. Ivan Pace, 23, quick, and can get to the QB. I don't know why you don't have him if he's available in your league right now. And that is the defensive segment at Dynasty Depot. You have anything to add on to that, Ryan?
No, man, I think that was solid. There was very expansive.
I get into it on the defensive side of the ball here.
I love it. Gets me jazzed.
And defense wins championships, and your defense will win you your fantasy football championship. It's just finding the consistent players, and I think both of those players have consistent targets that they will be able to capitalize on. That going into it, let's get into our trade targets for the week. I have 2.5 trade targets this week. I have 1 offense, 1 defense, and I didn't know if this was a trade away, trade for, and I listed him as a stay away from this one player. So do you want to start with the stay away, or do we want to save that for the middle of the conversation? Maybe a segue into the tradeaways.
Let's save that for the middle of the conversation. I think that'd be a good middle ground.
All right. So who's your trade for targets of the week?
Yeah, man. So I have 2 offensive. I feel like you're not gonna like this first one I'm coming out with, but I have to speak my piece. At the beginning of the season, we talked about the Patriots' offense, and I believe Andrew said he wants to stay farther than Anthony Fauci's COVID guidelines from the Patriots' offense. With that being said,
I would definitely play farther away than 6 feet. So,
well, with that being said, I got Hunter Henry as a trade target for the week. Why is that? Everyone knows tight ends are quarterback friendly, but ever since Drake May took over, He has a team high 14 receptions, and I think that Drake made a Hunter Henry connection is just going to grow as the season goes on. Tight ends are hard to come by. I believe in the last 2 weeks he's finished tight end 4 and tight end 7, respectively, in points since Drake May has taken over. And I definitely see that as a position of value that you can definitely get some upgrade out of, because we know tight ends are few and far between value wise. So I'd keep an eye out for Hunter Henry, and my second guy is coming from the Saints. I had Rashid Shaheed. He went down. I'm very sad over that. But a guy that you can look for is Chris Olave. Because Shaheed's out and Carr is coming back, I think there is definitely some value there that you can scoop up, that Chris is definitely going to take away from Shaheed. Now that he's no longer there. Plus his owners are going to be super just bummed out, I think, over the production he's had so far this season. It's been extremely lackluster. And I definitely think you can get some value out of there for a trade. So, yeah.
I like both of those.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
I think you're right. I'm not going after Hunter Henry. But, like, what are you willing to trade for Hunter Henry? Being on a questionable offense, what would you be willing to give up for Hunter Henry right now? Tight ends this year are a valuable commodity, and I agree with you. I like Drake May. Drake May is my highest rated quarterback coming into the season. And now that he's getting reps, he's looking good. He's looking like I expected. I still don't trust this Patriots offensive line, but Hunter Henry is a valuable asset in today's world because tight ends suck. Let's see, I was going to say it at some point. I'll say it now. There was 34 players on both offense and defense this week that scored more than 10 points. It was a miserable week for fantasy football. It's just if you the what?
I suffer because of that. I am back below 500 right now. I'm in the depths of
team. Yeah, because your team sucks.
I got a young team. All right, they're a bunch of studs. It's the stud farm, Shivoni Stud Farm.
All right, there. So like, what are you willing to give up for Hunter Henry?
Oh man, I mean, I would. What am I willing to give up for Hunter Henry? I think you could throw in I think you could definitely throw in a flex or really a bench receiver. But he's getting some value now, so I like trading with picks. I feel like a third would be decent for Hunter Henry.
Third straight up. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how deep your league is and stuff, but I think that's a solid trade for.
Yeah.
Going into my trade for targets, and I say with a pass receiver, Mike Evans. I'm trading for Mike Evans. It's unfortunate to see him go down. He will be back by the end of the season, and he will be the number one target to get you into. This is strictly for competitive teams now, and you're willing to give up good draft capital for an older receiver to win your championship this year, because that's going to give you depth going into playoffs and during playoffs. And whoever has Mike Evans right now is going to want to lay him off for maybe a bargain you can get him for. And Mike Evans, this is not his last year in the league. He doesn't have much left. He's old, but his decline is not really showing. He's going to be consistent even after his injury, and I think he's a great target to go for. I've been getting looks at Ryan, so I'm ready for a Ryan rebuttal here.
Yeah, man, hold on. No, I just had a realization. Is this going to be the first season that Mike Evans doesn't go over 1,000 yards?
Oh, my God. Be.
Oh, my God. No! That's my GOAT. Oh.
It have an asterisk next to it. He got injured. It sucks, but Hey, maybe he can start making it up. Isn't he only out for like 3 or 4 weeks? I think he's not even in the IR.
Like I
Maybe he just starts coming out with 200-yard games as the only receiver on the Bucks right now, and he just goes for it,
like
Which is
I
why you
love
should trade for him now.
I like Mike Evans when you first came out and said what you said. Definitely had some differentiating opinions, but when you saved your take, saying it's gonna help you win this year, that makes sense. Long term, I don't think Mike Evans. I think that's just the general consensus. He's definitely on his way out. You're not gonna have him for as much time as I don't think anyone would want for his good production years. Um, but I think he's still in a age right now where he can still get you good points and
Yeah,
to win that.
and
Yeah.
and we're in a point in our fantasy league right now where we're halfway through the season, over halfway through. You know if you're competitive or not, and I would be willing to give up something like a second, a third, and some change for Mike Evans and injured Mike Evans. You take that gamble and wins you. I know it's high capital, but it wins you the game. Wins you the Super Bowl. I think that is more than enough to push it over. My second guy is Andrew Van Ginkel. I've talked about him before on this. He's just an absolute dog. He's had multiple sacks. He plays for Minnesota now. He played for Miami before. And I think that he is one of those people that, A, he's a linebacker, defensive lineman. He's going to get you points. He's all over the field. This week he had a forced fumble, a hit on QB, 2 sacks, 2 hits on a QB, and then he's had 6 solo tackles, 3 of them for a loss. This dude is a dog. That was against Detroit, against New York Jets. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, so a pick six, 63 yards, pick six. 1 pass defend, 1 hit on a QB, and an assisted tackle. This dude is starting to find his stride, and that was against the Jets and Detroit. Those are not little teams. You had the Rams, Colts, Jags, Titans, Chicago, and then here's your playoffs is the Cardinals, Falcons, Bears, and Seattle, and then Green Bay. I think that Andrew Van Ginkel is amazing. You also have to remember, and I talked about it last week, the NFC North defense is absolutely on fire right now. And it is clear to me that if you want to win in fantasy football, you better stack up on these NFC North players because they just have a high turnover rate, and that's just going to be what wins you games, man. So, very excited to see what they do. And I guess to transition, we're going to go with the other Tampa Bay receiver. And I am staying away, clear away from Chris Godwin. Very unfortunate what happened to him. But he's not young. He's 28 and he dislocated his ankle. That is not going to be fun to recover from. And yes, he has a great career, but for some reason I feel like he is just not going to be the same after this injury. He's put in IR. He's out for at least 4 weeks. The reason I say this is because it's very uncertain what's going to go there. Mike Evans is a minor injury. He's going to come back. And even if he's not 100%, if he's 75% of his normal production, that's still a solid receiver to have on your team. Chris Godwin is such a wild card right now about how he's going to recover with his age and stuff that I am willing to hold on to him to see how he comes back. And I am also not willing to pay any price that someone wants for him for me to trade for him. So I think that this is a gamble that I would just stay clear away from Chris Godwin. I don't know what your take is on that, Ryan.
Yeah, definitely bummed out about it. You know, I definitely like watching Chris Godwin as a Bucks fan for the last how many years has it been? Has he been with us for the last 5, 6 years?
I think it's 4.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I am checking right now.
But was he 24 coming out of Penn State? Regardless,
8 years. We were both way off.
he's been with the Bucks for 8 years.
He has been. He was drafted by the Bucks in 2017.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's actually wild. It's crazy. He was 20 years old coming out of Penn State, man. That's wow. No, man, that's definitely not fun to see. I like, I like, I can't argue with your opinion. I can't argue with your opinion because it's some guys, and I hate to say this. Chris Godwin's a good receiver, but there's guys that just have it when you for Mike Evans. There's just something about him getting injured that you see there's going to be production. I'm not even talking about this year. I'm like in previous years when he's had a hamstring injury, plays through it, whatnot. Production still there, puts up 1,000-yard seasons. Chris Godwin had surgery. He's going to be out for the year. There's a lot of uncertainty coming back. I don't know. Yeah, I think you have a really good take. You have a really good take.
I feel like the upside of him coming back is too good to get rid of him, and I feel like the uncertainty of him coming back is too great to try to trade for him. I think you're gonna hold Chris Godwin. I think you just stay away from that whole situation.
I would agree.
But I think that's a good time to go into our trade away players, which I will start right now, and I will start away with Joe Mixon. Everyone is talking about C.J. Stroud right now. And Stroud is going to he's a good quarterback, and I don't want to discount anything. My Packers shut him down. Very happy about that. 83 yards total game. He was getting Jair Alexander was amazing and got in that whole offense's head. It was very fun to watch. But Joe Mixon has been the workhorse for that team. And I think you can get great value for him right now, especially if you're not a super competitive team and you know you're not going to win it all this year. Trade away and get those picks and trade its way to a competitive team that's willing to take the risk. But C.J. Stroud with that receiving core will start to get things going. Going into Week 8, we're halfway through. They're 5-2. They are very competitive. They're going to have to start throwing the ball. That's going to start clicking with that whole offensive receiving core. And I think Joe Mixon, we're going to see a decline in his productivity. So I say trade him away now for the value that you have. And with how he's been playing, I would not expect anything less than a second-round pick for that Joe Mixon.
I'll ask you a question. I hate to interrupt you right here. Where do you see Where do you see Dameon Pierce's value moving forward in that offense?
I think that Joe Mixon is declining because of the passing game. Therefore, Their run game is not going to be very valuable. So their second-string running back is not going to gain any value in this offense. He might keep a similar role that he has now. I don't see much of a fallout like I see Joe Mixon, because I think you need Joe Mixon out there for the play action to be set up, which is what Stroud likes doing. So I don't think you're going to see much fall off from him. I think he's going to stay pretty constant through everything. But I mean, we'll have to see about that. So that's my take on Dameon Pierce in that offense.
All right.
And my second trade for target, similar to the Hunter Henry, is Will Dissly. And he is a 28-year-old tight end for the Chargers. And he's a name that not a lot of people probably know. And he's starting to gain a connection with Justin Herbert. He had 8 receptions on 81 yards this week. Last week he had 4 receptions of 26. This dude's getting targets, and it's getting more and more as the year goes on. The Chargers are trying to be competitive. They play the Browns, Titans, Bengals, Ravens, which would be a hard game, but that's week 12. Falcons, Chiefs, another hard game. But then we go into our playoffs, which is Bucks, Broncos, and New England. This dude, when you're talking about a tight end position that's very lackluster this year, this dude can win you the championship if he's going to get these continual targets. And because it is someone that name doesn't really affect its trade value. Like if you're trading for an Aaron Rodgers, even though he sucks, he's Aaron Rodgers, you're going to trade for more than his actual value. Will Dissly, you'll be able to get for a deal, maybe be able to put him into a trade somewhere, another trade that you are talking through. And I think he's a great great pickup for your league this year. So those are my two. Sorry, we're doing trade away.
Yeah, I didn't want to
No,
interrupt you there, yet. Let it ride.
pick up Will Disley. I think Will Disley has a great thing. That's in the wrong section right there. So I have my notes filled out on the side, and I misread that. So pick up Will Disley, and then with that, I'm gonna put it to Ryan for the trade away player of the week for a hin.
Yeah, man, you totally ripped through the whole trade four, and then we went to trade away, and you're like, "Fuck it, dude, Will Disley." Yeah, man. So I'm gonna hop in this real quick, and so you guys should be trading away Christian Kirk. He's not even the top three target on his team right now. He has had, I think, zero 100-yard receiving games this whole season. Um, he's behind right now Brian Thomas and Evan Ingram, which if you watch the past couple episodes, I'm a big fan right now of Brian Thomas and definitely think he's going to be the guy for years to come right now in that offense as long as they can get the quarterback playing going. Shout out T-Law, that's my boy. Um, but yeah, man, I would definitely get Christian Kirk out of there, whatever you can. Um, if you could find a solid backup, get some depth in there for Christian Kirk. But I don't know where you'd take him. I definitely think he's I don't know where his ADP is at, but I definitely think you could probably you got him later in the draft. If you could just trade for a decent depth piece, I think that would be fun. I forget where I read it, so my bad, homies. But there is rumors right now of him being a potential trade target. So I don't know how that's going to affect going forward.
I feel like that only increases his value. If he's a trade target somewhere,
Yes, but what if the Jags just don't end up trading him? What if he stays there?
no, I know, and you're saying trade away. I feel like that's like something that you can do to leverage in a value for the trade.
I get what you're saying.
So if you're trying to trade him away, I think the rumors will only increase what you can get for him, and I'm agreeing with your take. I think you should get rid of Christian Kirk because he's not the future of Jacksonville.
Agreed.
So
Andrew, I think you're gonna love my second one.
I'm ready for it. Let's hear it.
Anthony Richardson, the East Side legend.
I need to hear this. I'm holding on to Anthony Richardson stock right now in multiple leagues, and I can't pull the trigger. I get the offers, I just can't. I'm too high on him, so please convince me to sell him.
129 passing yards, no touchdowns.
All right, C.J. Stroud had 83 yards, no passing touchdowns. Should I trade him?
We're talking about on this season, I believe. I'm pretty sure this is a season set. Let me check, but I'm pretty sure Anthony Richardson is 129 zero touchdowns on the year. And if I'm wrong,
I don't think that's right. I have to fact check you right now, and I don't think that's right.
Well, I mean, he missed how many games?
No, his last game he had 129 passing yards.
That's my fault.
One
Either way,
fumble.
dude, he has 3 touchdowns on the year and 6 interceptions. That's really all you should know.
I will also like to put out there, and this is me getting my way out of this, is 2 of those passing touchdowns came in game 1.
So now you're looking at one. Look, Andrew, like you look at him and he was the same way in college, same way in high school, and he just has a lot of physical gifts. But
and those gifts I am willing to buy into.
But I'm hold on. All right, I'm about to grandstand right here. All right, he's a phenomenal person. He's a phenomenal athlete. Has he led any team, high school, college, NFL, to a championship or at least look like a championship contender? Have you seen anything like that? High school, no, he did not. Eastside was not relevant at all in the grand scheme of the Florida high school playoffs. You go to college, he led a Gators team, which he was put in bad position by his head coach at the time. And that was kind of a weird situation, but he had a brand new coach come in. and kind of just ran the offense around AR. There was a lot of issues that season with that whole offense, and Florida Gators fans and anyone who's watched them, they've been historically bad at their offensive line over the last, I want to say, 8-9 years. So there's, but then he gets to the NFL. He's a top draft pick. I think he was a top 5, whatever it was. Was he 2 or 3? I don't know. Top 5 draft pick. Gets to Indianapolis, lights it up last year. What is he doing for you lately? And it's not even like he's doing enough to get past he'll be fine in a couple years. He looks terrible. He's not playing smart football. He's athletic. He's an amazing athlete. I don't think he's a quarterback.
I'm sorry, I just gotta say it because I don't want Anthony Richardson to be the first quarterback I'm wrong about. And I think that he is a great quarterback, and I think the skill's there. I don't think he's going to win a championship. That doesn't matter. He's going to win my fantasy championship, and I disagree with this take. I think when it comes to fantasy, he has everything you need for it. He just needs to get comfortable again.
Part of the reason why these teams haven't been competitive is his inability to make smart throws when he needs them. His inability to be anything more than an 80-yard touchdown run if he needs a large play. He has a cannon for an arm, and he will throw it all the way down there back of the end zone and hit a dime. How often is he doing that? You had week 1, he looked phenomenal. He looked amazing. Made throws that went viral. What are you doing for me lately? Sure, and it's that bait at the end of the hook that always gets you in there, because you see those massive plays, you see those highlights. But I mean, look, hold on. October.
I don't know, man. I'm biting every time.
October 20th, 129 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 59 passer rating. I believe September 29th is when he went down. No, that was. Did he go down? Maybe. I don't know. 75 passing yards, or was it 71 yards? Let's say whatever, he went down. The week before that, played full game. 167 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The week before that, against your Green Bay Packers, 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. I don't know why there's still this sham going on. I don't know why people are still bought in. Is he an athlete? Yes, great person. Yes, is he your NFL quarterback who's going to put up 15 to 20 points a game and help you win? No. Sell Anthony Richardson
again.
Sell Anthony
this week.
Look, see, there's still value in him as an athlete, and that's why I think you can still get very good trade value out of him. Get it while now, before everyone starts to realize that this guy is just not going to get you the points you need consistently. That's my take.
There we have it. Trade away Anthony Richardson from Ryan's take. I don't agree, but I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree here. I think I'm keeping my Anthony Richardson stock. Or I might go ahead and trade him right after this podcast. Who knows? So now is my favorite segment. This is a segment that we get to have a little bit of fun here on Dynasty Depot, and it's our so serious takes of the week. And mine is hot for the longtime viewers. So I'm going to let Ryan go first. And I will save my take. I will save my so-serious take. But Ryan, what is your so-serious take of the week?
This might be foreshadowing. This is me guessing it, but I have a big feeling that your take has to do with Mayo. What that
it has nothing to do with Will Levis. I still think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he will have the golden jacket one day, and I will double down on that right now because everything that I see out of him, yes, I know the memes. We just talked about viral clips don't define a player. I see it, and he's just been in a bad position right now. If he gets out of there, or if we get a new coaching change in Tennessee, I think we'll see a big difference.
Well, that's all right.
It's so serious, so I can do that. That's not my so serious take, but that's still my take.
I'm doubling down from last week. I think Aaron Rodgers is still going to finish top 5 at the end of the year. I think we did
All
see a
right, this
bump.
gets crazier the week that goes on. All right.
I think, and here I'm not going to double down further, but here I think Devonte Adams, looking objectively at that offense, and I was definitely wrong about Garrett Wilson. I could definitely use some points out of him last week. I got too emotional, but this week I'm looking at very objectively. I do think he finishes top five, and here's why. Devonte Adams came in, and Aaron was up late at night trying to teach Devonte the signals, right? And that's on Aaron. He's an old guy, he needs sleep. So what happens? He has a rough game, and that's all right, because that offense is still going to be insane. There's just so many weapons. There's just so many weapons for them to be lackluster. I just don't see it. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to use everything he has in his ability, spread the ball out, and get his guys in the game and be the quarterback that we've known him to be. And I just think he's going to be that guy. I think the Jets go make it deeper on the playoffs. Bang.
So just to be clear, you think Aaron Rodgers is going to become a top 5 QB now because he's going to get better sleep?
Oh, so serious.
All right, I guess that is definitely a hot one. That's definitely an oh so serious moment right there. And I think with me going into this, right, I don't want to touch on Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a bum, and I think he's been a bum. I think Matt LaFleur resurrected his career, and we got a bag for him.
I think you're just
Even if those players don't turn into anything, the fact that we don't have them on our roster and we don't have to deal with that contract or whatever, it's a win for me. My oh so serious take, and I'm gonna get flamed for this. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna read you his points from this year, and I'm gonna tell you where he ended last year, and we're gonna go from there. This dude, I have historically said, is not a good quarterback. I have historically said to stay as far away as possible from him. And he's not going to win you championships. And he's had 2 years where he was quarterback 14, quarterback 15, quarterback 10. Last year, he finished quarterback 4, and I still wasn't sold on him. This year, it's a little different. He is currently PPR quarterback 1. And he scored 44 points this week. 22 points. Sorry, I'm looking at a league that has 6 points per touchdown reception, so it's a little inflated. 44 points this week, 22 points last week, 40 points the week before, 27 the week prior, 27 in week 3, 18 points week 2, that's still good, 27 in week 1. I was wrong about Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback. I think you should invest in Lamar Jackson if you aren't already. If you haven't, good luck. And I think Lamar Jackson is going to be on a lot of championship teams this year. I think you're going to see that Lamar Jackson is the most common quarterback, or most common quarterback on winning fantasy football teams this year when it's all said and done. And that is my oh so serious take of the year. Lamar Jackson is actually playing like MVP level. I don't think he deserved it last year. I think Josh Allen did. But this year, there's not a question right now that he is the front runner, and he deserves every bit of it. I don't understand why people are talking about Patrick Mahomes. I don't understand why people are talking about Josh Allen. No one is close to the production that Lamar Jackson has. And I have money on the future of Jordan Love. And I think Jordan Love is up there in that conversation, but I don't think he's close to Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback this year, and that is my oh so serious take of the week.
Wow.
I left Ryan speechless.
I'm thrilled. I'm jazzed. I am, as Andrew said, speechless. I've been a Lamar Jackson hater for a long time. I love to watch him in college. He was very fun to watch. He's still fun to watch. I'm not going to say you're wrong.
I've historically been a Lamar Jackson hater, and as a watching film, he's making the passes. So I think he gets the quarterback pass now, and I think he's a great quarterback, and I think he's going to win you the league. So that is my oh so serious take of the week. Let me know what you think about that on X, formerly known as Twitter at Dynasty Depot, and Killgirl over there will go ahead and respond. Go give him some love over there on the Twitter. Follow us at X Dynasty Depot. It's us, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for letting us be part of your daily commute. Hopefully that went well, and if not, we were on the couch having a beer, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace!